I never thought I'd end up in a courtroom, staring down the barrel of perjury charges, all because my daughter-in-law couldn't keep her mouth shut. One snide comment at dinner, and suddenly I'm dismantling her perfect little empire brick by hypocritical brick. But let's be real, Elena had been building that house of cards on my back for years. And when she called me good for nothing but bills, she didn't just light the fuse, she handed me the goddamn dynamite. It started 6 months ago. In that cookie-cutter McMansion in the suburbs of Atlanta, where the air smells like magnolias and regret. My son, Jake, had married Elena fresh out of law school. The kind of girl who quotes Ruth Bader Ginsburg at brunch but sues for palimony if the prenup gets dusty. I was Athena Hargrove, 62, widowed, and scraping by on a pension that barely covered the electric for my 2-bedroom ranch in Decatur. Jake was my only kid, the golden boy who'd clawed his way out of our hand-to-mouth childhood after his dad died in that mill accident back in '98. I raised him alone, working doubles at the hospital as a nurse, stitching up drunks, and delivering miracles on minimum wage. Every dime I had went to his braces, his college fund, his escape hatch from the life I couldn't give him.
Elena?
She was the upgrade. Blonde, ambitious, with a laugh like wind chimes and eyes that could negotiate a plea bargain. They met at a firm mixer, her clerking for some hotshot DA, him grinding as a junior associate. Wedding was at the Biltmore estate. $80,000 she insisted we chip in for because family traditions matter. I sold my mom's heirloom ring to cover my share. Jake didn't know. He never did. By the time they settled into that house, 5 bedrooms, pool out back, Tesla in the garage, Elena had me on speed dial for emergencies. Grocery runs when she was buried in briefs, picking up their dry cleaning because her Acura was in the shop. And the bills? God, the bills. HOA fees for the manicured lawns. Private school tuition for little Mia, who wasn't even born yet, but Elena was already waitlisting her. Credit card statements from Neiman's that could choke a horse.
Mom.
You're a lifesaver, she'd coo, wiring me just enough to keep the lights on while I pawned my nursing scrubs for cash. I didn't mind at first. Jake was happy, buried in mergers and acquisitions, pulling $250,000 a year. Elena was climbing, making partner by 35. They named me godmother to Mia, and for a minute, I felt like part of something bigger than my empty house and microwave dinners. But cracks show, don't they? Like when I'd visit and find Elena's yoga mats rolled up in the guest room I'd paid to furnish. Or when Jake would text apologies for missing Mother's Day because Al's depot ran long. The night it boiled over was a Thursday. Rain hammering the roof like God's own migraine. Jake was in D.C. for a client dinner, Mia at her nanny's. Elena had invited me over for girls' night, code for her venting about work while I nodded like a bobblehead. We were in the kitchen, that gleaming marble island I'd helped pick out, when the mailman dropped the stack through the slot. Envelopes fluttered like dead leaves, Amex black, Duke Energy red flagged, a foreclosure warning on the second mortgage they'd taken for the sunroom addition. Elena snatched the pile, her manicure slicing through the air. She ripped open the Amex first, $14, 200 balance, and her face went from Botox smooth to thundercloud.
Jesus.
Jake, she muttered, then froze when she saw me watching. I was midway through folding her laundry, the kind of domestic drudgery she'd offload because you're so good with that stuff. Athena. She slammed the bill down, eyes narrowing like I'd forged it. This is your fault. You know. Her voice was low, venomous, the kind she saved for cross-examinations. All those loans you keep asking for. We wouldn't be drowning if it weren't for your endless sob stories. I straightened, towel still in hand, heart thumping like a bass line in a trap song. My sob stories?
Elena.
I've covered your mortgage 3 times this year alone. Jake told me. Jake tells you what you want to hear, she snapped, whirling on me, wine glass sloshing Merlot across the quartz. You're good for nothing but bills. Athena. A leech in orthopedic shoes, sucking us dry while we build something real. Go back to your trailer park and leave us alone. The words hung there, sharp as broken glass. Trailer park? I'd owned my house since '05, paid off with overtime shifts while she was sorority hopping at Emory. Leech? I'd co-signed Jake's student loans, guaranteeing them when her daddy's trust fund balked. But I didn't yell. I didn't throw the towel. I just smiled slow, like the Grinch spotting Whoville, and said, "Careful what you wish for, sweetheart. Some debts come with interest." She laughed, brittle and dismissive, pouring another glass. Threats from the help? Adorable. Doors that way. I left, rain soaking my cardigan, but not before slipping my phone from my purse and hitting record on the kitchen counter. Voice memos are a nurse's trick, documenting vitals, charting deteriorations. Elena's vitals? Terminal hypocrisy. That recording? It was my first card up my sleeve. But the real hand I'd been dealt went back further, to the secret I'd buried deeper than my husband's casket.
See?
Jake wasn't just my golden boy. He was my miracle and Elena's biggest lie. I'd found out about the affair 6 months into their marriage. Jake was working late, always late, and Elena was networking at wine bars downtown. One night, I swung by unannounced with Mia's forgotten sippy cup, only to find her Audi parked outside a Buckhead motel, the kind with hourly rates and no questions. Peering through the rain-flecked window, I saw her tangled in sheets with Marcus Hale, her firm's senior partner. Marcus, the married one with the boat and the temper. The one who'd fast-tracked her career, then blackballed rivals. I didn't confront her. Not then. Jake was fragile, still grieving his dad in ways he never admitted. Instead, I started digging. Nurses are investigators at heart, piecing symptoms into stories. A quick Google. Some old contacts from the ear. Marcus had a history. Assault charges dropped. NDAs signed. And Elena? She'd clerked for him straight out of law school, her resume polished brighter than her ring. The real bomb dropped a year later, when Mia was born. Elena had a complication, preeclampsia, they said, but I was there, holding her hand in the delivery room while Jake paced the hall. As Mia crowned, Elena gripped my arm, sweat-slick and wild-eyed, whispering, "Don't let him know. Promise me." Know what? That the baby wasn't his. DNA don't lie, but blood does. Marcus is type O. Jake's A positive.
Mies misteri.
I promised. For Jake. For the family I'd stitched together with spit and prayers. I faked the joy, cooed over those blue eyes that didn't match his, and when Elena handed me the first bill, hospital extras she couldn't swing, I paid it. And the next. And the one after, because silence has a price tag in this economy. But that night, with her words echoing, good for nothing but bills, something snapped. Not rage. Exactly.
Clarity.
Like waking from a fever dream and seeing the 4 drip for what it was, poison. Hours later, as thunder rolled over I-85, I pulled into a Waffle House off the interstate, The kind with fluorescent buzz and grease that sticks to your soul. Phone in hand, I texted my old ER buddy, Rita, now a PI with a nose for dirt. Dig on Elena Voss Hargrove. Everything. And Marcus Hale. By dawn. Her reply pinged. Files attached. A digital Pandora's box. Elena wasn't just cheating, she was laundering. Firm kickbacks funneled through shell accounts. Her name on offshore wires. Marcus covered for her. But sloppy, tax evasion trails leading straight to their joint filings.
And Mia?
A custody bomb waiting to drop if Jake ever swapped. I didn't sleep. Instead, I drove to the bank. Withdrew every cent from the emergency fund I'd built for Jake's someday, $22K in crisp hundreds. Not for revenge. Not yet. For leverage. First stop, a notary in Midtown. I drafted a letter, airtight, outlining the affair, the paternity fraud, the money trail. Sign it Athena Hargrove. Witness included. Then, I FedExed copies to Elena's firm. Marcus's wife, oh. The irony, high school sweetheart, cancer survivor. And an anonymous tip line at the DA's office. No return address. Just a postscript, some debts compound. By noon, Elena's world was unraveling. Jake called first, voice cracking over speaker. Mom, what's going on? Elle's hysterical, cops at the house. Her boss screaming about embezzlement. I feigned shock. The doting matriarch. Honey, I have no idea. You okay? He sobbed then. The boy I'd bandaged knees for. Now a man gutted by betrayal. Elena texted next. You bitch. Undo this. I'll ruin you. I replied with a screenshot of the voice memo, her leech line. Timestamped. Ruin me? Darling. I'm already broke. What's your excuse? That was the hook. The bait. But revenge isn't a sprint. It's a slow bleed. American style. Elena lawyered up. Countersuing for defamation. Dragging my name through depositions like roadkill. The papers ate it up. MIL versus DIL, suburban soap opera or felony fallout. Pundits on Fox and CNN picked sides, me the vengeful hag, her the ambitious victim. Protests outside the courthouse, protect working moms signs clashing with justice for betrayed fathers. I didn't fight back in court. Let her spend. Instead, I went underground, Rita feeding me whispers. Elena flipped first on Marcus, plea deal for immunity.
His yacht seized by feds.
Then she turned on Jake, accusing him of emotional abuse to snag full custody. Mia, poor kid, shuttled between lawyers like luggage.
The twist?
Midway through the circus, Jake confessed. Over coffee at my kitchen table, eyes hollow as his dad's old work boots. I knew.
Mom. About Mia.
Elle told me after the affair blew up. Said it was a one-time thing. That I'd learned to love her anyway. He paused, stirring sugar into black nothing. I did. For the family. My stomach dropped. All this, the letters, the tips, for nothing? He'd chosen her lies over my truth? Why didn't you say? Shame, he whispered. And you? You'd hate me for forgiving. Forgiving. The word tasted like ash. But in that moment, staring at my son's broken compass, I saw the real betrayal, not Elena's, but mine. I'd borne the secret for him, paid the bills for peace. And now, we were all stained. The climax hit like a Georgia summer storm. in that same courtroom where Atlanta's elite air their dirtiest. Elena on the stand, polished in Chanel, spinning tales of my extortion. Me in the box next, orthopedic shoes squeaking on tile, voice steady as a scalpel. Your Honor,
I didn't steal her life.
I just stopped funding it. Gasps rippled, reporters typing furiously. Then the judge dropped the hammer. DNA results. Subpoenaed from the hospital, confirming Mia's paternity. Elena's empire crumbled live on C-SPAN. Jake testified last. Not for her. Not against, just raw. I forgave because love's messy. But lies? They bankrupt you. The jury split hairs, me acquitted.
Elena abrogation.
Assets frozen. Mia to Jake. Supervised visits for her mom.
No winners.
Just survivors picking shrapnel from their guts. Readers online went feral. Athena's a hero, versus. She's a meddling monster. Family first. Threads on Reddit stretched to infinity. Philosophers in pajamas debating if revenge ever pays dividends. As for the end, I got my house back. Jake crashing on the couch while he rebuilds. Elena vanished to some condo in Miami. Last I heard hawking true crime podcasts. Mia calls me Nana. Her eyes, Marcus's eyes, sparkling with questions she'll ask someday. Was it worth it? Hell if I know. I saved my son from a sinking ship, but capsized us all. In America, revenge isn't sweet, it's just another bill coming due. And me, I'm good for paying them. Finally. The fallout from the courtroom lingered like humidity in July. Thick and inescapable. Jake moved in with me that week. His Tesla traded for a used Civic. Boxes of his life stacked in the garage like forgotten Christmas decorations. Just till I get on my feet. Mom, he said, avoiding my eyes as he unpacked suits that smelled of Elena's perfume. I nodded, brewing Folgers strong enough to strip paint, and wondered if forgiveness was genetic, his from her, mine from the universe. Nights were the worst. Mia would FaceTime from the sitters, her chubby fingers smudging the screen. Nana. When Daddy come home, I'd force a smile, channeling every Disney princess I'd binge-watch to distract her. Soon.
Peanut.
Nana's making cookies.
Lies.
Always lies. Jake heard them, retreating to the den with a six-pack and case files for a new firm, pro bono stuff now. Divorcing white collar from his blood. Elena didn't fade quietly. Oh no. She lawyered harder. Filing motions like grenades, alienation of affection, intentional infliction of distress. My pension got garnished for restitution, leaving me boiling ramen for 3. Rita laughed when I vented over burner phones. Athena, you're the villain in her origin story. Lean in. She was right. Elena's Instagram went dark. Replaced by a Substack, betrayed by blood, a lawyer's fight against toxic in-laws. Subscribers ate it up, 10K in a month. Her mugshot glammed up like a headshot. I read every post. Highlighter in hand. Not for pain but ammo. She painted me as the harpy, Athena Hargrove, the shadow in sensible shoes, who weaponized family secrets for a vendetta. Half true, I suppose. But she glossed the laundering, called it creative accounting for equality, and the affair? A lapse in judgment. Healed by therapy. Marcus got a footnote. Sacrificial lamb to her paranoia. The real sting? She dragged up my past. That mill accident with Tom? She twisted it. Athena's enabling codependency. Born from her own unresolved grief. How'd she know? Jake. Drunk one night. Spilling about my therapy dropout after his dad died. Betrayal squared. But I wasn't idle. With Jake's alimony checks bouncing, I cold-called old patients, folks I'd saved in the ER. Now, with pull in low places. A realtor buddy listed my house discreetly, netting enough to hire a shark, Harlan Voss.
Nori Laschen.
But a bulldog who'd gutted Big Pharma in the opioid suits. MS. Hargrove, he drawled over Zoom.
Volotie gleaming.
We don't just defend. We indict. Our counterpunch, a civil suit for fraud. Paternity deception as emotional battery. Financial coercion as elder abuse. Harlan subpoenaed Elena's therapy notes. Turns out, she'd journaled the whole scheme, seducing Marcus for promotion, faking the miscarriage scare to lock Jake in, even scripting my loans as blackmail fodder if I ever flipped. Discovery was a bloodbath. Depots under fluorescent hell, Elena crumbling. Mascara rivers. Admitting she'd forged my signature on a cosign for their boat loan. It was for us, she sobbed. For the dream.
Jake.
In the gallery. Looked like I'd slapped him, realization dawning that the dream was hers alone. Twist came mid-trial. Courtesy of an unexpected ally, Marcus's wife. Lydia. Cancer-ravaged but fierce. She testified via video from hospice, pale as parchment, voice like gravel. Elena didn't just sleep with my husband. She counseled him to rewrite our will, siphoning assets to her charity, PAC. Lydia's eyes locked on Elena. You called me the old guard.
Well.
Guard this, your PAC. Frozen. My foundation gets it all. The courtroom erupted, reporters scrambling. Elena's lawyer objecting to prejudicial theater. But the judge, a no-nonsense black woman from East Point, let it roll.
Mom.
Are you dying? Affirmative. Then speak your piece. Lydia's piece was a gut punch. Bank records showing Elena's PAC as a slush fund, campaign donations to anti-family law reform candidates, ironically funding her own rise. She played us all, Lydia whispered. Like fiddle strings in a hoedown from hell. Public opinion flipped like a bad flip phone. TikToks trended, Athena Avenger versus Elena exposed. Duets splicing my voice memo with Lydia's testimony. Protests swelled, feminists picketing for working moms' rights, dads groups chanting, paternity truth now. I became a meme. Orthopedic shoe emoji with a dynamite gif. Controversy crested when a podcaster accused me of Munchausen by proxy, faking crises for attention. Bullshit, Harlan barked on air. Athena's the whistleblower we need in this nanny state nightmare. Through it all, Jake wavered. One night, post-depo, he cornered me in the kitchen. You enjoyed this, didn't you? Watching her burn. His eyes, Tom's eyes, accusing. I set down the dish towel. Voice even. No.
Son.
I endured it. For you. But if you'd chosen truth over her fairy tale. I did, he roared. Fist slamming Formica. Every deposit I ignored. Every blind eye, I chose us. And you blew it up anyway. Silence stretched. Rain pattering the window like hesitant applause. He was right. My revenge wasn't just for the bills. It was for the girl I'd been, 19, pregnant. Tom enlisting because a man's gotta provide. I'd borne his mistakes too. Covered for the bar fights. The gambling slips. Cycle unbroken. The trial's climax wasn't the verdict. Elena's assets liquidated. $500,000 to Mia's trust. Mia awarded back pay plus punitive for psychological torment.
No.
It was Jake's closing statement. Unscripted. As co-plaintiff. He took the stand. Suit rumpled. Voice cracking like thunder. I loved her. Still do. In the broken way you love a storm that floods your home.
But Mom?
She didn't betray me. I betrayed myself, letting lies build the walls.
Anna.
In orange jumpsuit for the fraud hearing next door. Watched via monitor, face ashen. No snark left. She mouthed sorry, but sorry's cheap as air. Jake didn't look, he stepped down, hand on my shoulder, and for the first time, I felt the weight lift, not gone, but shared. Rebuilding's a bitch in the South, slow as molasses, sticky with what-ifs. Post-trial, Jake landed a gig at a nonprofit, fighting corporate overreach, irony thick as gravy. He stayed in the den, Mia's room a nursery of hand-me-downs and hope. I'd catch him at dawn, staring at her crib, whispering apologies to the empty air. Daddy's here now. Bug. Forgiveness. It seems, starts with showing up. Elena got house arrest, ankle monitor chafing her Lululemon, in that Miami condo, courtesy of a plea that shaved years off her bid. Her Substack morphed into contrition porn, from predator to prey, my reckoning with Athena. Ghostwritten. Probably. Her prose too polished for prison Wi-Fi. Subscribers dipped. But the diehards defended her. Systemic sexism made her this way, while my accidental fame spawned a book deal. Bills of betrayal, a mother's stand. Ghosted too. But mine, raw, ragged. Every orthopedic squeak on the page. The twist nobody saw? Lydia Hale's last gift. Before she passed pancreatic, swift as a freight, she willed me Marcus's old sailboat. For the woman who navigated storms, her lawyer said, keys jingling like karma. The siren's call. A 40-footer docked in Savannah, salt-crusted and waiting. Jake crewed the maiden voyage, Mia giggling in a life vest too big. Waves slapping the hull like reluctant applause.
We didn't talk revenge that day.
Instead, stories, Tom's mill tales, Jake's law school pranks, Mia's first word, boat. Sun dipped low, gilding the marsh, and I realized the real controversy wasn't the lies or the lawsuits, it was us. Flawed as kudzu, tangled but tenacious.
Elena?
She'd texted Jake once. Tell Athena I get it now. Bills add up. He didn't reply. Some debts. You let compound. But peace? Fleeting. 6 months in. A letter arrived, certified, from Elena's attorney. Not a threat, but an olive branch, voluntary custody expansion, plus a check for the ring I'd sold. Reparations, it read. Attached, her diary scan, pages of regret-scrawled confessions. I envied Athena's grit. Used it against her. Mia deserves better. Jake agonized, pacing the dock at dusk. What if she's changed? For Mia? His eyes pleaded, echoing that boy who'd forgiven her first lie. I sipped sweet tea, rocking in a captain's chair, the Gulf breeze whispering warnings. Son, change isn't a checkbook entry. It's showing up when the water's choppy. He nodded, but doubt lingered. A shadow on the horizon. The final debate? Ours. Private. He chose supervised visits, testing waters, not diving blind. Mia lit up at the zoo dates. Elena subdued.
Noche en el armer.
Progress? Maybe. Or set up for round 3.
Me?
I sail solo now. Sirens call cutting wakes under Carolina moons. Readers still argue online. Athena won, justice served.
Nah.
She destroyed a family villain arc. Twist is, they're both right. Revenge didn't make me whole. It hollowed the rot. Happy ending? In America. That's just set up for the sequel. Last hook. Yesterday. Mia asked, Nana, why mommy's sad? I knelt. Her tiny hand in mine. Grown-ups pay for mistakes.
Peanut.
But love? That's free. She beamed. Gap-toothed and true. Worth every bill.